Hi, this is Light Novel Sound, and welcome to Astral Pet Store. Get ready to embark on an intergalactic journey where we bring you unique stories, fascinating creatures, and otherworldly adventures. If you're a fan of fantasy, sci-fi, and unforgettable characters, you've come to the right place. On this channel, we dive into the exciting world of Astral Pet Store, where extraordinary pets with magical powers are sold in a far-out space market. Join our main character as they navigate the challenges of running a pet shop in the stars while discovering hidden secrets and forming strong bonds with their cosmic companions. A big thank you to the author Ancient She for bringing this amazing story to life, and be sure to check out the full novel at lightnovelworld.co to enjoy the entire adventure. If you enjoy adventures, quirky creatures, and unexpected twists, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a new chapter of this stellar story. Chapter 241, Brand New Store. Employee, Joanna, with her profile picture. Mode of existence, avatar of her true self. Rank, the Void Realm. Combat strength, 29.6. Inborn bloodline, bloodline of the Titan gods. Skills, divine slay, sun-splitting spear, phantom space, puppet making, dark flames, pastry and bakery, and so many more. The long list of skills dazzled Su Ping. Joanna had mastered at least 40 to 50 skills of a diversified category. She had even learned everyday skills such as baking and pastry, dancing, flower arrangement, etc. Those could be counted as her skills. Well, they could, in a sense. They were skills after all, and everyday skills were still needed. Su Ping took a careful look. Joanna was equipped with so many glamorous skills that he felt her life was like a perfect example of the extravagant lives lived by the nobles. Why can't I find information about her true self? Su Ping browsed through her information a couple of times. Only information about the avatar Joanna that was serving in the store was listed, but not the information about her true self. Theoretically speaking, since she was only second to the superior gods, her combat strength should have been much higher. He was quite eager to find out what her actual strength was like. The system didn't reply. Su Ping would have to figure this out himself. Su Ping thought for a long time. Eventually, he decided that it was because Joanna's avatar was the one working in the store at the moment. That was why only her information was listed there. If and when her true self came, he would be able to see her complete information. I can try and steal her stronger skills one by one. Or, I can let her teach the little skeleton and the inferno dragon for them to grow. Su Ping lost himself in these delightful thoughts. Currently, the store had just been upgraded to the 3rd level. From the interface, Su Ping could see the territory of the entire store, which encompassed an area of 3,000 square meters. The other surrounding stores he had bought and were outside the store's territory didn't have the protection of the security zone. But Su Ping was fine with that. He would have to upgrade the store someday in the future, and those extra places could come in handy then. There was a virtual map in Su Ping's mind that could guide him in the store. He left the pet room. As soon as he opened the door, he saw Joanna sitting by the counter, sleeping. Indeed, she was a goddess. She was quite stylish even in her sleep. She leaned against the counter, with her legs crossed and her arms folded in front of her chest. What a posture! Weren't her legs getting numb? Joanna heard Su Ping coming. She opened her eyes. There seemed to be a flash of coldness in her eyes when she saw how Su Ping was sizing her up and down with a grin. She pulled a long face and snorted. She was vexed since she had to deal with this person, who was far from being a gentleman. She, a god, had to sleep on the floor. She didn't even have a bed. Even if he didn't see her as a goddess, she was an employee. What kind of treatment was this? Though she was furious, she didn't bother to show her anger anymore. She had been mentally prepared since she arrived at the store. At the very least, on the surface, being hostile to his man would not do her any good. Last night, she had tried every means possible to teleport away from the store while Su Ping slept, trying to escape. However, some force had overpowered her, not even letting her step out a single inch. She dreaded the mysterious force in the store. She couldn't understand what kind of being would be powerful enough to drag her to this strange world from the demigod burial and imprison her there. She could sense that the world was not a powerful one. There was nothing that could scare her. Besides, from the building and the languages, she could tell that this wasn't a small world by the edge of the divinity. After all, in the early days, she had once been a goddess of war in the divinity. She had joined many missions that entailed battling in those small words. She had seen countless of them, but none were like the one she was in at the moment. "Come on, let's take a tour around our store," Suping said, grinning. Joanna raised her eyebrows. She wanted to say no, but the code of conduct for employees popped out in her mind. She frowned but had to stand up. Suping smiled and pushed the door open. The roller shutter door had been substituted by a huge wooden door with the carvings of a dragon and a phoenix that were as natural as though they were living on the door, and as though they could leap across from the door at any time. Outside the door was a long staircase with 2 dragon statues guarding on both sides. The door area was 2 times larger than before. The dragon statue and the exquisite decoration on the walls gave a more elegant look to the store. One look and people could tell that this was a classy place. According to the map of the store, Suping stepped outside. He looked to the sides. A shop that used to sell down jackets had turned into a wall with its door sealed off. On the inside, the shop had been connected to the other places. Suping walked down the road. Of all the shops he purchased, 7 to 8 had become walls. The ceramic tiles used had wood patterns. His store had become incompatible with all the other shops that were still in operation on the street. It was as if his store were a 5-star hotel in a village. Suping stood outside on the street and looked around his store. All the shops on the first floor had been connected, and so were the buildings on the second and third floors. They had been merged into one. Pixie Pet Store. The old, shabby signboard had been updated by the system. The board was hung above the store and it was several times larger. The board was very visible, and it had been gracefully crafted. Suping exclaimed when he saw how the system understood him. This kind of majestic and elegant style was just the type he was hoping for. Viewed from the distance, his store was like a luxurious mansion relocated on this street. The 2 dragon statues outside his store were formidable. Suping thought that those 2 dragon statues were more impressive than the phoenix statues at the gate of the Phoenix Peak Academy. He wondered if the system had sealed 2 real dragons inside the 2 statues. The eyes of the dragons were too lifelike. He felt that 2 dragons were gazing upon him. Perfect. Absolute perfection. Suping praised the system. It had outdone itself because he could find no flaws when he was a person that could find a quarrel in a straw. Suping was overjoyed, but Joanna was inwardly sneering at him. She showed no expression on her face, in case any emotions she revealed could get her into another argument with Suping. She wasn't surprised to see that the store was different. The mysterious force could wipe out a large area overnight, let alone doing some renovation. As for the overwhelming sense of the store, she had seen too many classy venues in the divinity. The store's elegance was nothing to her. The only thing that caught her attention was the dragon statues outside the store and some of their details. She could tell that the 2 statues were the true essence of the store. Having checked the exterior of the store, Suping went back inside with satisfaction and began to look around in the other areas. The narrow and small pet room was connected to the other shops he bought. The pet rooms were more spacious and could house more nursing pens. The small room where the chaos spirit pool for incubation used to be also changed. He pushed the door in and he felt as if he was standing on top of the universe with countless stars surrounding him. The chaos spirit pool for incubation that used to be like a dry pool had become a deep well hovering amongst the stars. Suping was not sure whether this was just a special effect or reality. Anyways, he felt this look was extraordinarily refined and much better than before. The new test spaces occupied the most space and Suping was impressed. The room was pure white, but at the door, there was a switch that could adjust the space according to the type of pets. Fire, ocean, forest, swamp, and comprehensive environment, among others. When Suping switched the room to an ocean setting, the white room turned into a place with water with rocks inside. It was as if he were playing with a PowerPoint file and he could choose anything he wanted. But the simulation was lifelike. He felt he was indeed in an ocean. This was astonishing. How high-tech this was. See. Of course, given the current level of technological development, this was achievable. Some time back, Whopping had also seen something on the internet, saying that some top-level venues were utilizing this type of technology. Did the system import the highest technological achievements from the federal government into my store? Whopping wondered. He trusted the system. The system was crafty enough to think about getting some construction company to disguise the upgrade of the store. The system knew better than to use anything too queer or unfathomable. Otherwise, his pet store would have become a tech store. Joanna accompanied Whopping on his tour. She was stunned when they entered the room with the chaos spirit pool for incubation. She could sense that the well hovering in the stars hid some ancient energy. That type of energy seemed to be more primitive than the divine energy she was seeking. While shocked, Joanna exited the room with Whopping, but she would never forget what she saw again. Her fear and understanding of the store was further deepened. After they finished touring around the store, Whopping went back to the storefront to test the pet sales function. Before he put up any pet for sale, he could evaluate the pets first. Little skeleton. Whopping summoned the little skeleton first to find out its value. He remembered that when the little skeleton first came to him, he had once tested the price for renting out the little skeleton. The rate was 1 energy point. He had been training the little skeleton for a long time. He wondered how the little skeleton would fare. Soon, the prices for sales and rental of the little skeleton were available. Selling price, 4.62 million energy points. Renting price, 10,000 energy points hour. Whopping was stunned stiff. A selling price of 4.62 million? In energy points? Upgrading the store had only cost him 100,000 energy points. In terms of federal astral coins, the 100,000 energy points did not seem to be much. But it would take him a long time to make that many federal astral coins. After all, many services in his store had a low price as demanded by the system. If I remember correctly, upgrading the store to the 4th level would need 1 million energy points, and the 4th level Chaos Spirit Pool for incubation also costs 1 million energy. Whopping's heart was throbbing. He could have all of that if he sold the little skeleton. He could upgrade the store, and upgrade the Chaos Spirit Pool for incubation, which had a high possibility of breeding a Beast King. He looked at the prices several times and heaved a sigh. He would never sell the little skeleton, not a chance. He had spent too much effort into training the little skeleton. To upgrade the store and the other things, he could take gradual steps. By pure logic, selling the little skeleton right then to upgrade the store and breed Beast Kings was more cost-effective. His strength could be developed as well. But he was a human, and that meant he was sensible. For Whopping, the little skeleton was like his kid. Every time they went to a cultivation site, the little skeleton would go to rescue him from danger at the risk of its own life. He could never sell his companion to get energy points, even if more zeros were added at the end of the price. Then, Whopping saw a breakdown of the price. He clicked the chart open to see the details. Half-Skeleton King Bloodline, 3.9 million energy points. Combat Strength of 10, 500,000 energy points. Skills Mastered, 220,000 energy points. Whopping was startled. That was to say, the little skeleton was worth that much mainly because of the bloodline of the Skeleton King? Without the bloodline of the Skeleton King, the little skeleton would only sell at 500,000 energy points? But the little skeleton had a combat strength of 10 and at the Beast King level. Are you sure about this? Whopping asked the system. The system sounded indifferent. Excluding the bloodline, a combat strength of 10 is the lower limit for a Beast King, and Beast Kings of the lowest level will have a value of 500,000 energy points. Whopping was speechless. Beast Kings' prices were low. 500,000 energy points were equal to 50 million federal astral coins. How cheap were the Beast Kings? He could easily make over 1 billion coins with the spoils he had obtained from the mysterious realm. Yes, He was cheating because he had information about the mysterious realm. Obtaining the treasures was as easy as winking. Still, he didn't think making money was difficult. Qin Shuhai, the one who had bought the astral spirit fruit from Suping, could easily pay him 100 million. That was how rich titled battle pet warriors were. That was to say, any titled battle pet warrior could go to his store and buy several beast kings, right? The system added. A 4th level chaos spirit pool for incubation can have a higher possibility to breed a beast king, and 1 round will cost you 1 million of energy points. An adult beast king, if it has a combat strength merely above 10, it is proof that it has low potential and little room for progress. A selling price of 500,000 is high enough. Suping did not know what to say. Even without a growth potential, beast kings were beast kings. They were strong and could eliminate titled battle pet warriors instantly. The store has its pricing system. The host shall not say more. The target of the store is to cultivate the best pets. Pets of low potential are good-for-nothings. The host must remember this, the system continued. Suping rolled his eyes. Did the system have to be so pretentious? What is wrong with low potential? Have the pets used your money? Why do you have to be so defensive? Yes, I do have to be this pretentious. No, you're eavesdropping again. If you don't want your thoughts to be heard, the host should try to upgrade the store to the 7th level as soon as possible and be able to keep your privacy, the system cautioned Suping coldly. FCKU. He gave vent to a torrent of abuse. Suping finally quieted down after electrotherapy. He stopped arguing with the system. He thought of something else. The system was talking about the beast kings with no bloodline or potential. But for the most part, beast kings did have bloodlines and great potentials. Therefore, a normal beast king could be sold over 1 million. As for the chaos spirit pool for incubation, he would have to spend 1 million for each incubation attempt, and there was a high chance of a beast king coming into being and a lower possibility of a top-level beast king coming out. Essentially, selling an average beast king could give Suping a chance to win a lottery. As such, he wasn't losing anything. The system must have thought of this when setting the price. How crafty the system was. Suping heaved a sigh. He wasn't in the mood to argue with the system. After all, he could never win against the system and had to take it easy. What else could he do? Chapter 242, Taming. One by one, Suping tried putting the other pets for evaluation. Unsurprisingly, the Inferno Dragon had the highest net price of 150,000 energy points, most of which had been contributed by its Beast King level bloodline. While the Dark Dragon Hound and the Purple Python, not so much, even though they could fight rather well. So basically, an average 9th rank pet could sell for 70 to 80,000 energy points, which was acceptable. Most customers who needed to buy 9th rank pets could afford such a price just fine. Suping really wanted to raise the price, which wouldn't affect his business at all. Too bad he couldn't. Damn. Maybe I can sell several pets I found in the mysterious realm. They aren't worth much, but at least they can help me get more customers. I can't just rely on the students from the academy. They don't have much money on them anyway. He saw Joanna yawning in boredom and suddenly got an idea. Come. Let's go to a cultivation plane. Cultivation what now? Joanna frowned. Suping didn't explain. He called up the system menu, found the cheapest cultivation plane and paid the price, while selecting Joanna as his partner. An unknown force soon came and pulled both of them into a foreign, empty world without anything noticeable in view. Suping chose this place so he could test something out. What is? Joanna checked the sudden change of environment in awe. She wondered if Suping had used the same trick to freely sneak around divine enclosures. By going there, Suping meant to provide some staff training before Joanna started helping his business for real. And perhaps show her who was boss in the meantime to get rid of some of her funny ideas. He took out several beast-catching rings from his inventory and snapped them apart to free what was inside them. The first one that entered their view was the exceptionally large flame blood dragon that had almost wiped out Suping's team in the mysterious realm. It didn't appear as violent as before after being trapped inside the ring for a few days. Though this didn't mean it was friendly. "I'll consume the last bit of your petty presence, human," the creature uttered in human language as it locked its fierce gaze at Su Ping. As soon as it regained freedom, the full power of an apex 9th rank monster rapidly returned. "I'll leave them to you," Su Ping told Joanna while glancing at several more pets that popped up from the broken rings. "As a worker in the shop, you'll help me deal with untamed pets." In fact, this wasn't written in Joanna's job description. Otherwise, he would have been free to mass-produce beast kings for the shop to sell by catching them from different shape. Joanna could more or less figure out his plan, though she found it difficult to reject the job because she was still too surprised by the fact that Su Ping could take her to different realms against her will. Or maybe it wasn't Su Ping, but the unknown administrator in the shop that did it. Nevertheless, she wanted to be careful. Even if Su Ping could only borrow a small fraction of the amazing power, he could still harm her. Because of the unfair treatment, she felt a rising irritation itching to burst out of her body, yet she didn't dare not vent it out on Su Ping. The roaring beasts around them were perfect targets for that. "Silence!" she bellowed as a golden aura expanded from her position, which swept past the beasts and instantly paralyzed them. "Who are you?" The flame blood dragon spoke to her, head against the floor in fear. For a moment, it even thought of going back into the dark prison instead of confronting this terrible woman who made its soul tremble. Similarly, the Chilean lion also quieted down and extinguished the flames around its body, before gazing at Joanna cautiously. "You don't deserve to know my name, filthy animals. Prepare to get butchered." Joanna threatened them as she gathered her golden energy again, creating her divine lance in her hand. She caused a small storm to blow over the empty realm even when the air was thin. Su Ping jumped at her dangerous display. No, don't kill them. You're supposed to tame them." Joanna threw him a hateful glance, before looking back at the beasts. "Whatever. Get tamed, or die. You hear?" The Chilean lion whined and immediately crouched with its head against the floor. Too bad it wasn't intelligent enough to speak yet. Following its lead, several more pets who had just gotten out of the rings bowed down. None of them was brave enough to look at Joanna. As the last one, the flame blood dragon faltered for a moment and also succumbed. It left several deep claw marks on the floor due to unwillingness. "Nice." Su Ping nodded in contentment. She didn't need to do anything to scare them into submission. He approached the flame blood dragon and asked a question. "Why were you guarding that astral spirit fruit tree? Why were there two of you?" The dragon gave Joanna an uncertain look, before answering Su Ping. "The soul of an ancient dragon king forced our kind to watch over its treasures. For eons, my ancestors couldn't leave that prison but were otherwise free to breed and grow up. It was about a century ago. I found the ancient power slowly weakening, so I successfully found a burrow in the cave where I could avoid its control. There, I devoted days and nights trying to pass the ultimatum judgment and become a beast king, so I could finally be free from the restraint." "I see. So, you need to get through some kind of judgment before reaching the level of a beast king." The dragon gave him a strange look. "Indeed. A beast king is no longer a common creature born of nature. On the contrary, it has enough strength to defy that very nature. This is why the world itself will use a punishing power to test and discourage one from becoming a beast king." Joanna added from nearby, "What you just heard is divine judgment. And yes, a common beast needs to survive it in order to breach its mortal limit, or die trying. Turning into a beast king is equal to rejecting the role given by this world upon birth. Of course the world will try to prevent it." For a moment, Su Ping noticed a hint of sympathy in Joanna's eyes. "I see." Since all 5 pets he took back in the beast-catching rings had become obedient, their job was basically done. Su Ping returned to the shop and picked another cheap cultivation plane with a moderate climate as a temporary ranch for the new pets. Then went back to his bored shopkeeper role as he sat on his chair while waiting for customers, only to get nothing at all after a few hours had passed. and he was rather confused. It was as if the bigger design and all the eye-catching features added to the shop had scared everyone away instead of attracting them. Don't tell me all the students are still stuck inside the barren areas? That would be bad. Since most of his regular customers were students, those who still had time to visit the shop must be the poor ones who didn't have much money to spend. As long as most of the students were occupied by their fieldwork, he wouldn't be getting much business at all. He had already made plans to further promote his shop in the city. But there was no starting it when not a single customer showed up. Crap. Hey, Joanna? Can you go outside and help me with, lure customers in? Here? How do I do that? Well, Su Ping thought but failed to come up with a proper way that fitted Joanna's style. He felt excited the moment he heard approaching footsteps, but was soon deflated when he saw it was his sister. Su Lingyu entered the shop's door somewhat carefully and sighed in relief when she saw her brother inside. Did this all happen overnight? You said you wanted some new decor, not to completely rebuild everything. What do you want? Su Ping said without looking up. It's time to eat, Morin. Su Lingyu frowned at his attitude, but was soon attracted by Joanna's divine look. Oh? Who's this? She's wonderful. Su Ping decided to get some introductions done since these two were going to spend some time together anyway. A new employee I just found. Call her Joanna. And Joanna? This is my naughty little sis, Su Lingyu. An employee? Su Lingyu went wide-eyed. Why in the world would such a pretty lady work for this disgusting bachelor? And what does he mean by naughty? Of course Su Lingyu believed none of what Su Ping said. In her view, someone so appealing had countless ways of earning more money instead of working there. And this probably meant she wasn't there for the payment, but something else. Chapter 243, The Elite League begins. All right, I need a bite. Su Ping felt his rumbling belly and stood up. It suddenly dawned on him, he could enjoy more of his mother's home cooking from then on, instead of going to cheap diners while working. He went to the door and spoke to Joanna, who was still sitting there like a statue. What are you waiting for? Come with me. Su Lingyu heard his words and clenched her fists in anger. He's asking a girl to dine with us already? Just as I suspected. Irritated, she pushed Su Ping aside and slammed the door to walk ahead. Unfortunately for her, the new wooden door was too heavy for her to slam around. She almost hurt her hand. What's the deal with her? Su Ping glanced outside before looking back at Joanna. Come on. Are you somehow glued to your chair? Wait, are you asking me to join you? What do you think? Su Ping rolled his eyes impatiently. How can you work for me with an empty stomach? I'm not planning to starve you like a slave. I'm not that bad. Joanna suddenly remembered her most recent afternoon tea during which she had some fried dragon steak cooked by the best chef in her realm. She couldn't stop her mouth from watering. Fine. Lead the way. Inside another small shop nearby, there were enough tools for them to set a living space after Su Ping placed everything he used during his usual work days there. Mom, this is Joanna, a new helper I found for the shop, Su Ping said while watching her mother preparing some materials in the kitchen. Li Qingru was shocked for good when she looked at Joanna. Then she quickly realized something. A helper, you say? Yeah. I hired her. Su Ping went to a basin to get washed. Li Qingru gave her son an I totally know what's going on look, before she took Joanna's hand in hers with a big smile. Quick, take a seat, dear. Joanna, a beautiful name it is. Do you have any trouble understanding us? I mean, you don't look like a local. Out of instinct, Joanna wanted to push off the human who laid a hand on her, but decided against it when she saw the great kindness shown in Li Qingru's eyes. A bit bewildered, she was pressed against a chair by Li Qingru, while Su Lingyu watched everything with a knowing grin. Son, can she not speak our language? Li Qingru asked Su Ping when all of her questions were met with silence. Su Ping looked up from his food. Say something, will you? Manners. I told you. Joanna slowly nodded. I can hear you, sure. Studying your language took me only a few minutes. Li Qingru glared at her son. Don't be so rude to a lady. Su Ping flinched, while Joanna almost laughed when she saw Su Ping being scolded by a powerless mortal. A pure-blooded god like her didn't have actual parents, she had been directly created out of purified divine energy. She had seen all kinds of companionship among humans but could never understand what that meant. Meanwhile, Li Qingru seemed really fond of Joanna, mostly because of her flawless appearance. Like most places in this world, being pretty was always a gift no one could resist. Even a beautiful criminal would have admirers supporting her actions. On the other hand, those who looked too plain rarely earned attention and respect, even if they did something commendable. As their meal continued, Su Ping gradually realized what was happening when his mother began asking too many irrelevant questions regarding Joanna's privacy. Stop it, Mom. She's my worker, nothing else. Keep going like that and you're going to ask about her ancestors and their distant relatives next. Li Qingru glared at him again. Don't be childish when an adult is speaking. Just look at you. You will need my help if you want to find a girl to marry. Nonsense, Mom. If I set my mind to it, I'd find way more girls than you think throwing themselves at my door. Ladies these days don't only judge your looks. They prefer someone easygoing, kind, and most importantly, faithful. That's what you must show to the others. Welp, then I'm staying single for the rest of my life. Too bad I only inherited your good looks, Mom. Stop joking, I'm serious. Su Ping made a sour face. Let her eat, will you? She can't do anything when you keep stuffing questions to her face. Li Qingru let Joanna off with an embarrassed look. Oh, sorry, dear. Please, see if anything suits your appetite. Joanna appeared relieved to escape from Li Qingru's enthusiasm. Talking to such an earnest mother made her feel strange, yet she couldn't tell why. She sniffed at all the prepared meals and frowned when she noticed that everything was junk food without any special properties. Su Ping saw her unhappy look and asked, "What do you usually eat? I mean, back at your place." "Well, dragon meat for normal occasions. I love the muscles on their necks. Those taste good. As for additions, I would like phoenix liver and blood." Su Ping almost spewed out the soup he had just drank, while Su Lingyu and Li Qingru stared at Joanna in disbelief. "Dragon meat?" Su Ping quickly intervened. Must be the names of some dishes served in a big restaurant. Yeah, that's it. They always use such flashy menus to make cheap food appear better. Like, they can make smashed potatoes with some red peppers and call it dragon in a bath, then triple its price. Am I right? Heh. Li Qingru chuckled. I see. That makes sense. Ahem. Joanna? If you don't feel like eating, you can head back to the shop first, Su Ping tried. Let her decide for herself. Li Qingru handed Joanna a pair of chopsticks. Come on, try some, dear. You won't be disappointed. Joanna silently took the strange tools in her hand. She had already learned how to use them by looking at Su Ping. She tried a slice of spiced meat she didn't recognize and felt the strong yet appetizing flavor hitting her tongue, which was acceptable. Well? Li Qingru gave her an eager look. It's not bad. Good. Help yourself if you like it. Li Qingru joyfully pushed several plates her way. Li Qingru watched Joanna's graceful table manners, then checked her daughter, who was digging into her food like mad. She slapped Su Lingyue's leg from under the table and told her to study from Joanna using eye contact. Su Lingyu glared at Su Ping and began to decimate her food even faster. If you don't like the food here, I can take you to a cultivation plane to hunt for something that's more to your liking, Su Ping said as they made their way back to the shop after finishing their family meal. Actually, it was fine, said Joanna. Everything tasted oddly at first, but then the dishes became, well, inviting. Su Ping glanced at her and failed to understand how a god grew to like the peppery cooking style of his mother. Since it was back to more waiting, He started up his computer to randomly look for inspiration that would help him endorse the shop. Only reaching out to students won't do. I wonder how other pet shops do it? I have the money, maybe I can ask movie producers and TV shows to place my ads in them? He decided to search for a pet shop to hopefully learn something. Soon, the search took him to one of the best-known pet shops in Longjiang City called the Primo. The owner of this shop had already opened up a dozen chain stores in the upper town while also having a store established in one of the best parts of the shanty town area. Su Ping found their main website and clicked it open. What do we have here? Oh? A new promotion event? Need assistance before joining the 52th Elite League? Check out the Primo, the only pet shop acknowledged by the previous city champion, Mr. Mu Yunfei. We have many helpful tools, services, and tips to guide you through a successful challenge. Chapter 244, Finding a Spokesperson. Elite League? Su Ping suddenly remembered the Elite League that Vice Principal Dong Mingsong had mentioned to him a long time before. Also a while back, Su Ping had seen some outstanding students in the academy getting ready for the competition. The students that were still in school could hardly win to reach good places in the competition, but it was still an excellent chance for them to train. Besides, even if they failed this time, they could see this as an opportunity to accumulate experience and participate in the next competition. The Elite League was held once every 3 years and this round was about to begin. Elite League, Su Ping mumbled. He slapped himself on his head. How stupid of him. What was the best way to make some quick money in the current society? Without a doubt, it was to catch a ride on the publicity stunt. Scientific research personnel that had made great contributions to society could never make more money, even at a great cost, than the internet celebrities that could leverage that social buzz. That was pathetic, but it was a fact. The issue that everyone was talking about was, without a doubt, the global Elite League. The Primo could be counted as the best in the base city and had multiple chain stores. This advertisement was intended to draw people's attention to the Elite League. Since the Elite League was about to start, even the average pet stores would have more business than usual. With a little bit of promotion, every pet store could garner more attention. Su Ping's eyes were flickering. The Elite League couldn't have come at a better time. He could ride on the momentum of the Elite League and get the word out about his store. He looked at the advertisement, trying to come up with one about his store. Soon. Light bulb. Su Ping had an idea. At the moment, he had both the money and the manpower. He could find large platforms to publish his advertisement and he could afford to find a celebrity. He could even find some titled battle pet warriors to speak on his behalf. For instance, Venerable the Blade, who was teaching the little skeleton. Venerable the Blade was well known and more famous than some first-tier stars in all of the continent. It was just that Venerable the Blade normally excluded himself from the entertainment circle. If he were to register an account in the entertainment circle, the number of his fans would exceed the fans of those big shot stars. After all, this was a world where everything was about pets. In such a world, titled battle pet warriors were the most glamorous stars. Of course, more glamorous than them would be the legendary battle pet warriors. I should have made that legendary old man stay. He could be a good asset for advertising. Su Ping began to regret his decisions. He shook his head. Those thoughts would not do him any good at the moment. After some thought, he called Dong Mingsong. Soon, the call was picked up. Mr. Su? Dong Mingsong's long and lean face appeared on the communicator. He had a weird look on his face. What are you calling me for? You are not trying to get me to prove anything for you, are you? Su Ping rolled his eyes. I only asked you to help me once. Can you ever forget that? Dong Mingsong laughed. I'm joking. Tell me, what do you need me for? He could read Su Ping very well. This guy would never come to him for no reason. Su Ping must be about to ask him about something. Su Ping went directly to the point. Do you know any celebrities? From the entertainment world. Dong Mingsong didn't quite understand. He sized up Su Ping and asked in a weird tone, are you thinking about hooking up with a celebrity? Poof! Su Ping almost choked to death on his saliva. Is this guy real? What the hell is on your mind? I just want to find a star to advertise my store and become a spokesperson, if possible, Su Ping said grumpily. He had never thought that Dong Mingsong would have such an agile mind when he was so advanced in age. Where did he find the courage to say those words? Dong Mingsong had the general idea. I see. Why didn't you tell me right away? I thought you were becoming full of yourself recently and had a sweet tooth for some fun. Su Ping. Finding a celebrity? That's easy. All you need is money. There are only a few big entertainment companies in the Longjiang-based city. How about I introduce one to you? Dong Mingsong adopted a more serious tone. Sure. Good. I will contact them first and send you their number later. You can just tell them my name and they'll know, Dong Mingsong said. Su Ping nodded and hung up. Soon, he received a number. Su Ping dialed it and was answered by the magnetic voice of a female. Hello. Hi, I am Su Ping. Dong Mingsong told me to call you, Su Ping stated. Mr. Dong made the introduction. That lady sounded surprised. She had just gotten off the call with Dong Mingsong, who told her that he was introducing a distinguished guest to her. Judging by Dong Mingsong's tone, she thought that such a man had to be of noble status. However, as she was taking the call, she noticed that the man was young. Is the young man a child of some powerful warrior? Well, I want to invite a star to advertise and represent my store. Any recommendations? While Su Ping was stating his purpose, he was searching online to find the big names of the Longjiang-based city. Mr. Dong told me about this. Do you have any preference in mind? That lady was still respectful. She didn't choose to belittle Su Ping just because he sounded young. Su Ping had not found anyone he liked, so he asked, how about you make some recommendations so I can decide? Well then, what kind of star are you thinking about? The biggest star in our company is WNA and her endorsement fee is at least 20 to 30 million. Before the lady could finish her sentence, Su Ping said, sure. Money is not a problem. Well, okay. They ended the call. Song Lu thought her assumption was right. That young man was a rich second-generation scion. Song. Mrs. Song. Several young and pretty girls went by. They smiled and greeted Song Lu when they saw her. Song Lu nodded to them as a response and lowered her sleeve to cover up her watch that had the phone function. She stepped onto the elevator down the long corridor. There were 2 elevators, one for the average people in the company, including the custodial staff, trainees that had just come to the company, and some has-been stars. The other elevator was only for the higher-ups in the company. Song Lu entered the elevator and pushed the button for the highest floor. 88. With a ding, the door opened. That floor was very quiet. She heard some gentle and pleasing music as soon as she stepped out from the elevator. The ground was paved with a soft brown carpet. Even in high heels, Song Lu's steps merely made a subtle sound. Song Lu went to a huge training room. Through the glass, she could see the inside. A young girl was practicing her dances and next to her was a pet that was like a white rabbit. That pet was hopping around, which was part of her dance. WNR. Song Lu knocked on the door gently. The girl stopped her dance and turned around. Sister Song? Sorry to interrupt your practice. I just got a call about advertising for a pet store. Do you want the job? Song Lu asked politely. Song Lu was the best manager in the company and she could control the future of many people. However, she would not dare to act wantonly when it came to this girl because her family name was Mu. In the Longjiang-based city, aside from the Qin family, the other family that should never be challenged was the Mu family. The Mu family was the second most powerful in the Longjiang-based city. A pet store? The girl frowned. Is that person rich or powerful? Otherwise, you wouldn't have come to see me. Young as she was, she had grown to be mature and seasoned after a long time in the entertainment industry. Those were the only 2 reasons that Song Lu would see her in person. Song Lu shook her head. Master Dong Mingsong of the Phoenix Peak Academy made the introduction. I don't know the details of that man. But since Dong Mingsong is the vice principal of a renowned academy, he wouldn't introduce just anyone to me. Also, I talked to that person just now. I think he is quite a wealthy person. If you want to take the job, I believe I can negotiate a fee of 50 million for you. The young girl raised her eyebrows. Did that man have any particular demands? We haven't reached that part yet. If you're interested, I will do some careful research about him and his store. I don't want to see your reputation tarnished because the store is run by some kid carried away by a whim and can go bankrupt at any time. The girl smiled. I trust you. Anyways, I don't have anything on my plate. Let's go and check it out. No problem. Chapter 245, Su Ping's Advertiser. At the store. Su Ping did more searching and realized that almost every pet shop in the city had begun preparing accordingly for the upcoming league. Cheaper services, discounted pet food and membership cards. They sure came up with every type of promising slogan to attract more customers to their doors. As he read their ads, Su Ping came to recognize that there was much he had to do as a shopkeeper. He took a moment to think of a trademark phrase he could use. Bigger words? Fancy promises? He was confident that he could do better than most people when it came to language tricks. We guarantee that our customers will enter the top 100 during the city preliminaries. He typed this down in a text file. That wasn't an overstatement. He knew his shop was good enough to help someone achieve such a relatively easy goal, as long as they paid enough. Going for the top 100 in Longjing City didn't sound very hard. What are you doing? Joanna saw Su Ping staring at a glowing box with a wicked smile and suddenly felt a cold chill. Su Ping didn't answer. Beep. He picked up his phone and saw the previous manager was calling him. Hello again, Mr. Su. I've gotten in contact with one of the best pop stars you can find in Longjiang City. She's Mu Shuangwan. Do you wish to talk to her? Mu Shuangwan? Su Ping wondered. He had seen this woman show up on several big signs across the streets. I think I know her. That everyone's daughter? Correct. Good. Let's proceed. When are you available, Mr. Su? Shall we find somewhere to talk about the details, such as expenses and the filming company that would produce our? Well, Su Ping just remembered that he was totally unprepared. I mean, can I ask you to handle the filming work as well? It's fine. We are always cooperating with several large-scale ad publishers. If you entrust this matter to us, we'll later talk to them in your stead. Do it then. Su Ping was glad that there was a professional who helped him with various matters. He was rich, but he had zero experience in those things. Back to my question, when should we meet? Up. How about today? Okay. Location? Let's use my shop. Can you bring Mu Shuangwan as well? I need to take a look at her up close. We'll ask her about it. Please understand that Miss Mu always has a tight schedule. Later in the afternoon, a black, common-looking commercial van arrived at the Pixie Pet store. It was strangely bigger than vehicles of the same type. Though on closer look, one could notice that it had been remodeled out of an armored car used by settlers. On the co-driver seat, Song Lu opened the side window and looked at the building with a frown. She had never heard of this part of the shanty town, even though her job would often take her there. She thought it was a mistake when she received the shop's address from Su Ping. Or, it could be that the shop was really special so its location didn't matter. But as far as she could see at the moment, there was nothing worth her attention, except for all the rather shiny designs. Their car had to travel through several broken roads, abandoned houses, and puddles of filth to reach that place. Why would anyone open up a pet shop in the middle of nowhere? She would have believed that she was dealing with a scammer if not for Dong Mingsong's credit. Since she already came, it was probably wise to continue and see what happened next. Let me go ahead, Shongwan. I'll give you a call if everything's in order, she said to the young lady sitting behind her, who looked a bit dismayed as she looked at the lifelike dragon statues at the entrance of the shop. She felt as if they were going to move and come at her in the next second. No. I'll go with you. Mu Shuangwan moved to get out of the car. She had already noticed that the statues weren't the works of average craftsmen. This strange shop was like a hidden sovereign that watched over this part of the street like a king. She put on her hood and a pair of sunglasses before looking around the vehicle. She saw nobody nearby, much to her relief. Following the stairs, she walked to the door while feeling as the mental pressure sent by the dragon statues was apparently increasing. She felt like a lamb willingly entering a predator's domain. But for some reason, she didn't feel truly threatened. She knew those were lifeless stones, not actual dragons. She tried distracting herself by looking away and entering the shop, only to see a blonde woman sitting not far from the door. She's beautiful. Mu Shuangwan uttered those words without realizing it. Similarly, Songlu was also admiring Joanna with widened eyes. She had seen her fine share of beautiful ladies in her career, yet Joanna's divine image still intrigued her. She felt bad. Bad as a woman, when another woman several times brighter was right there in front of her. But at the same time, she couldn't understand why she didn't recognize someone who appeared even more alluring than Mu Shuangwan. Oh, customers? Joanna frowned at the visitors but quickly hid her annoyed look. Welcome. That reaction got Song Lu and Mu Shuangwan even more confused. You came from Mu's agency? Su Ping spoke when he already recognized one of the women. Song Lu heard his voice and was left in a daze again when she saw the speaker was way younger than she had expected. Are you Mr. Su? Mu Shuangwan looked at Su Ping and noticed a faint trace of astral power coming from him. That's me. Let's talk. Su Ping stood up and moved to a fully furnished resting area, which had been newly added to the shop. Joanna, kindly prepare us some tea. Joanna went away with a stiff face. The tea leaves in this world were so bad that she wouldn't use them to bathe her feet. Though she had no problem using her divine tea brewing techniques to make something out of them for others to drink. Once again, Mu Shuangwan and Song Lu watched in bewilderment as they saw the goddess-like lady in the shop being ordered around like a common laborer. A part of them didn't want her to leave their sights at all. They removed the unnecessary thoughts stirring in their minds and followed Su Ping to their seats. Su Ping took a moment to inspect Mu Shuangwan's natural look, which was decent without any obvious makeup. She had always used such a look in her S. Mr. Su, this is Miss Mu, the best celebrity currently cooperating with our company. Song Lu got down to business right away as she always did. Please note that the basic price to hire her service is 30 million, non-negotiable. You should expect to pay more if you want her full support. Su Ping switched his attention to the manager. Money isn't a problem. Is 50 million enough to pay for an all-in-one service from your company? Meaning, you'll handle all minor affairs regarding this. Song Lu wasn't expecting that. Let me do some calculation first. She feigned a troubled look and wondered how to further increase the price. Do be careful with your plan then, said Su Ping. I do not wish to waste time dealing with small troubles later. He meant to tell Song Lu that he wasn't a clueless rich kid who had nothing other than money. Mu Shuangwan spoke up, I see no problem so far. But can I know more about your store? May I know your name? Just call me Su for now. Okay, Mr. Su. Mu Shuangwan went through her memory and couldn't remember any noticeable families or clans by that last name. Surely you know many different platforms and manners of media, right? Su Ping added, if it's all right, I want you to work with as many of them as possible to make my widely distributed. Popular TV dramas, talk shows, movies. Reach out to everything you can think of. Song Lu widened her eyes. That level of campaign could cost almost $1 billion. It was a good thing for both her company and Mu Shuangwan because it would certainly help them maintain their fame in the long run. In their line of work, not improving was equal to losing. Mr. Su? What you have in mind will call for several times the original expense you prepared for hiring Miss Mu, you should know that, Song Lu reminded him. She feared even Dong Mingsong wouldn't be able to take out 1 billion astral coins all of a sudden, not to mention that she didn't know who this young man was. Su Ping wanted to reassure her but was stopped when someone's footsteps were heard. "Hello again, Mr. Su." Venerable the Blade, or Leng Yingjun, entered their view with a big smile. Chapter 246, The Charm of Authority. Being Zhen Tianchun's friend did not mean that Venerable the Blade wouldn't pay Su Ping friendly visits. Besides, Zhen Tianchen knew that he had been forced to help Su Ping with his pets but refused to do anything about it. Venerable the Blade had all the reason to come. Su Ping nodded politely. "Greetings, sir. My oh my, did you redo your shop from the inside out?" Venerable looked around the interior and saw everything was new. "I thought I came to the wrong place. Man, those dragon statues. Who made them?" Su Ping pulled a chair over and asked him to take it easy. Despite their unpleasant encounter the other day, Su Ping still respected this titled warrior. "Thank you." Venerable the Blade accepted the gesture since he didn't really have a choice. "Where is your little skeleton? It's time for another lesson." Su Ping chuckled. "You no longer have to find a stadium elsewhere, sir. The shop now has a built-in training ground for this purpose. Please wait for a moment so I can finish a matter with my guests, then I'll take you there." "Sure." Venerable the Blade checked the two ladies seated on the other side and recognized neither of them. One of them was showing some astral power that suggested she was a 4th-rank pet warrior, which was pretty good, considering her age. Though such aptitude was nothing in Venerable's view. Even if she was several ranks higher, she would fall short when compared to the other young monster present. "Is this?" Mu Shuangwan was currently gazing at Venerable the Blade as her mind almost went blank. Venerable the Blade every battle pet warrior's talking about? His here? She wondered if her eyes were tricking her. Song Lu, on the other hand, was continuing their business since she didn't know Venerable well. "Ahem, Mr. Su? So, about your budget. I told you, don't worry about money. I should have enough." Su Ping was willing to lose money as long as his name was made known to more potential customers in the city. Only customers could help him earn energy points, which would in turn get him wonderful things that money couldn't buy. Song Lu was wondering which rich family she was dealing with. She had worked with several of them before, but none of them would give their kids 1 billion as pocket money. Mu Shuangwan suddenly interrupted her by asking out in a careful voice, "Are you Mr. Venerable the Blade?" Venerable glanced her way, before looking at Su Ping again. Usually, he wouldn't bother with random admirers like this one. However, since she seemed to be Su Ping's guest. "Yeah, that's me." Mu Shuangwan held her breath, amazed. She had been born in a family of battle warriors. The name of Venerable the Blade was something she would hear every day throughout her childhood. This man was her idol. Her god. It was known that Venerable the Blade had reached the apex of his rank and was about to challenge the legendary level. The moment he succeeded, he would become one of the most respected figures on this entire planet. She trembled as she gazed at her childhood hero in the flesh. Sir, I am a Mu Shuangwan, a battle pet warrior in training. It's a great honor to meet with you." "Oh, okay." Venerable nodded casually. Telling from Su Ping's looks, he could see that this woman was not Su Ping's acquaintance. Though this was expected when Su Ping didn't even consider Joanna as someone worthy of his friendliness. Venerable the Blade saw Joanna giving him an almost disdainful look and suddenly felt bad. "Venerable the Blade," Song Lu muttered. She was not a battle pet warrior, so she didn't know much about such titles. Though she did know that she should be careful when this shop had titled battle pet warriors as visitors. "Good day, sir." Song Lu quickly offered her courtesy as well. Venerable frowned. He had no business with common folk whatsoever, though he didn't say it out loud. "Why may I know why you're here?" Mu Shuangwan tried. "I need something done. But you can go ahead. Don't mind me." Mu Shuangwan could see that Venerable the Blade wouldn't talk to her, so she stopped asking. She was too distracted to think about her business meeting at the moment. Earning Venerable's acknowledgement was clearly more important. It would benefit her family greatly. Sir, I'm from the Mu family. Please pay us a visit sometime. Mu Tianliu, our clan master, has always wanted to meet up with you, Mu Shuangwan said as she put up the best smile she could manage. Song Lu was surprised now. She knew Mu Tianliu, who was a rather powerful one among all the titled warriors. This meant the man sitting in front of her could be someone even better. Mu Tianliu? Venerable the Blade went over his memory. Yes. I know him. You're his offspring? And no, I'm afraid I can't find time for more private chats. Just deliver my regards to him later. Of course. Disappointed, Mu Shuangwan tried thinking of other excuses to keep the conversation going. Su Ping chipped in with an annoyed look. Manager Song, shall we settle our agreement first? Is this guy Venerable's disciple or something? Mu Shuangwan checked Su Ping's calm temperament in confusion. Oh, right. Ahem. The agreement. Mu Shuangwan interrupted Song Lu. We'll do as Mr. Su says. If you have issues with your funding, I can also lower my price down to half. Song Lu jerked her head toward her partner and stared at her slack-jawed. Half price would mean at least 25 million astral coins less. That was big money. Nah, there's no need for that. Su Ping shook his head. We'll follow what we have agreed upon. I'll leave the details in your hands, while I only provide the general idea. Mu Shuangwan nodded and immediately left her name on the contract her manager prepared, much to Song Lu's surprise. As a professional negotiator, Song Lu was annoyed by the fact that Mu Shuangwan signed such an important contract like buying a cheap breakfast. But she chose not to raise any doubts as she more or less realized what was going on. Sometimes, earning the recognition of an important man was more profitable than getting money. With the contract finished and copied, Su Ping stood up to see his guests off. Reluctant, Mu Shuangwan slowly stepped away while bidding farewell to Venerable the Blade using the best manners she could think of. Do you know that man, Shuangwan? Song Lu quickly asked as their car started leaving. Mu Shuangwan waited until they were well away from the street, before breathing a long sigh of relief. Of course I know him. That's Mr. Venerable the Blade, someone about to reach the legendary level. Common titled battle pet warriors are nothing compared to him. He can make quick work of them in a fight with just one hand. Song Lu went wide-eyed upon hearing that. As a common citizen, an 8th-rank warrior like Dong Mingsong was already scary to her. Killing titled warriors with ease? That was unimaginable. Then she finally understood why Mu Shuangwan had behaved like a scared little kid, since she had always been proud and even lofty in front of their clients. Oh, right. Find someone to investigate that pet shop later, Mu Shuangwan said, after calming down. I want to know who that Su Ping man is. Song Lu nodded in acknowledgement. I wonder if he's a friend of Mr. Venerable. If grandfather ever learns that Venerable the Blade is visiting Longjiang City, he'd fly here in the next second. Mu Shuangwan muttered, I need to tell him. Chapter 247, The Fanciest Store. Back in the store. After the two ladies left, Su Ping showed Venerable the Blade to the test room. Is this it? Staring at the completely empty room, Venerable the Blade could not help but exclaim how simple and crude the setting was. What kind of environment do you want? Su Ping walked to the switch by the door. He randomly chose a forest setting. Instantly, the room began to tremble and the pure white walls changed colors, while sand and rocks emerged on the ground. Soon, the boring room transformed into a mountain forest, with both hills and woods. Venerable the Blade marveled at the change. To his surprise, those rocks and hills turned out to be tangible. How advanced this technology was! Venerable the Blade had visited a fair share of fancy venues, but this was his first time inside such a miraculous room. A battle venue emerged out of emptiness. Utterly unbelievable. Su Ping waved his hand. The little skeleton hopped out from the swirl in the air. It darted up from the ground, unsheathing its blade and looking around on high alert. Having found no enemies, Little Skeleton relaxed a bit and looked up at Su Ping blankly. Su Ping told the little skeleton to open its mouth so that he could take out the blood crystal hovering inside its skull. Much of the crystal had been consumed. Su Ping assumed that the little skeleton could finish consuming all the crystal in half a month at most. By then, the little skeleton's combat strength would further improve. But at the same time, the rating of its aptitude would drop. That didn't matter, though. Su Ping was more focused on the little skeleton's actual combat strength. The aptitude rating was just an assessment of the pet's potential, whereas the combat strength indicated concrete power. Curiously, Venerable the Blade asked Su Ping, "I can choose whatever venue I want here." Basically. Su Ping then switched the environment a few more times, ranging from oceans, a comprehensive environment, to a swamp. Venerable the Blade was stunned still. Learned as he was amazed by this magic room. He had never known that such advanced technology even existed in the Federation. How remarkable. Eventually, Venerable the Blade chose a comprehensive venue. "Listen, make the best of your time with him." After saying those encouraging words, Su Ping patted the little skeleton's skull. The red glow in the little skeleton's eye sockets flickered as it nodded slightly. Su Ping bid farewell to Venerable the Blade and left the two of them in the room. The store received only a few customers in the afternoon. It seemed that the dragon statues by the door were too threatening. Some customers would flinch and look around before they stepped inside. All the customers reacted similarly when they laid eyes on Joanna, whose look was quite eye-catching. As soon as Joanna showed the customers to Su Ping and told them about the prices, all of them ran away with a blushing face. None of them dared to stay for an extra second. This place was pricey. The price of the services in Su Ping's store was expensive for the average battle pet warriors, but it would be money well spent. However, only those that had experienced their services understood that their money would be well spent. That was the source of Su Ping's discomfort. The few customers that did enter the store were scared away by the high prices before they even tried the services. At dusk, Venerable the Blade finished his lesson and went to say goodbye to Su Ping. Since the business wasn't good that day, Su Ping had to place all his hopes on his celebrity promotion. He had dinner at home. At dinner time, Wu Guanxing was there. Su Lingyue's healing lessons were still in progress. After all, Su Ping had set up a deadline for him and he was afraid of slacking off. He wished he could be there every day so that Su Lingyu could finish learning as soon as possible and he could free himself from this duty. At night, Wu Guanxing had been asked to stay for dinner with the family. Wu Guanxing could no longer maintain the lofty composure he had when he was alone with Su Lingyu, while in Su Ping and Joanna's presence. Sitting on tenterhooks, he wished he could just go home, but he couldn't turn down Li Qingru's friendly invitation. Just one more person at the table. Li Qingru very much respected the master that was teaching her daughter about healing skills. Since Su Ping gave his consent, Wu Guanxing yielded with a show of reluctance and stayed for dinner. Still, Wu Guanxing had no idea how the dinner tasted. Su Lingyu was perceptive. At dinner, she could tell that her teacher was somewhat afraid of Su Ping and his employee. That was interesting, but Su Lingyu didn't let her curiosity show. She sensed that Su Ping had more secrets that she didn't know of. After dinner, Su Ping sent Wu Guanxing away in person and took Joanna back to the store. One of the nursing pens was Joanna's room. Since the energy inside could nourish her, a nursing pen turned out to be a decent place for her to rest. Su Ping had also decided to occupy a nursing pen. Since his home was close, staying in the store for the night was not a problem for him. The Chaos Star Chart. Su Ping sat in the nursing pen, trying to absorb anima and transferring it to his astral powers. The energy in the nursing pen was seeping into him through the pores, just like water. Every cell inside Su Ping was a vortex that was sucking in the astral powers, storing them. Su Ping had to admit that his cultivation was efficient. Usually, when people cultivated, they just absorbed energy. However, with his method, he was more like robbing the energy. At this rate, I'll be reaching the intermediate position of the 6th rank in less than half a month. In a month or two, I will be able to reach the 7th rank. By then, with the help of the star prism, I can exert astral powers close to the 9th rank. The more Su Ping cultivated, the more excited he was. The next day, Song Lu paid him another visit for the official contract signing, and she had brought a lawyer. They confirmed that everything was fine with the contract, and after signing, Su Ping went to the bank to make the transfer to Song Lu. Only then did Su Ping realize the benefits of having an account at the federal bank, just as Qin Shuhai had advised him. He could have a 2-star VIP account, with which he could finish the transfer at home without having to pay a visit to the bank. Soon, Su Ping and Song Lu finished their transactions at the bank. They placed their fingerprints on the contract, and it was then in effect. Aside from the spokesperson contract, Su Ping signed the promotion contract as well and made the down payment. Mr. Su, I am looking forward to working with you. Sure. I hope you can move fast on the promotion. You don't have to worry about the money. I just want an all-round service, Su Ping added. No problem. Su Ping said goodbye to Song Lu and returned to his store. He was ready to spend all he could to promote his store throughout the available channels. During this time, he would make his store the fanciest in the Longjiang base city. Several days later, Mu Shuangwan had finished shooting the ad. The slogan Su Ping came up with was in the ad as well: choose Pixie, and a place among the top 100 in Longjiang's elite league will be a sure thing for you. Since Su Ping had enough money, the person in charge of the ad was a famous director that had worked on many classic movies. The composer and writer for the jingle song were the best in the pop music industry, and the actress starring in the ad was Mu Shuangwan, the most popular celebrity at the moment. This had to be the most famous lineup anyone could get. While the shooting was ongoing, the company had already hired some internet marketers to share some posts about the Pixie Pet store to warm up the discussion online. After the shooting finished, the ad was distributed to all the popular platforms. The ad was played during most of the highly recommended TV shows. Apart from the official ad, TV product placement was utilized as well. The name of the Pixie Pet store appeared in many reality shows and TV programs. Besides that, the ad was repeatedly on display in the upper town area, including large billboards and screens. The promotion gained a strong momentum. On the first night that the promotion plan officially kicked off, the name Pixie Pet Store was made known all across the Longjiang base city. What pet store is this? I've never heard of it. This is a store that my muse Mu Shuangwan recommended. It must be good. I will go there. Come on, Mu Shuangwan fans. Let's go to Pixie together today. Let us show our combined power to the world. How arrogant of them. How dare they boast about a guaranteed top 100 in the elite league? This is so funny. How can a store in the shanty town brag about this? Forget about it. I say we go to Primo. After all, Primo's got history, and their service quality is guaranteed. What if this new store messes up your pets? The Elite League is about to begin. People were sharing different views about the Pixie Pet store, and some were arguing against it. The one point that was inviting the most suspicions was the location of the store. It was in the shanty town. For many residents of the upper town area, the shanty town was not a place that people should set foot in, and that was obvious. Naturally, a store in that place could never be up to standard. Aside from that, the fact that there was no official website of the store was even more questionable. Some students of the Phoenix Peak Academy saw the ad and read the posts. They didn't know that Su Ping would take such a grand step and invite Mu Shuangwan to promote his store. The students argued with those who were questioning the Pixie store. However, compared to the total number of battle pet warriors in the Longjiang base city, the students of Phoenix Peak University were like a drop in the ocean. Soon, more doubts buried their supporting words. Chapter 248. Tang Ruyan, the temporary employee. At the store. That day, Song Lu told Su Ping that the ad had been published, with promotional campaigns launched across all channels. Since then, Su Ping had been prepared for an increase in business. Su Ping had invested heavily in the various promotional campaigns, totaling 2 to 300 million. The public couldn't overlook those ads. Joanna alone won't do. Su Ping remembered the long lines of students outside his store after his business became popular in the Phoenix Peak Academy. He had been swamped back then. Right at that moment, another girl that he could use as a helper sprang to mind. Tang Ruyan, the one he had captured in the mysterious realm. Su Ping had detained her in the scroll, and he had not had the time to deal with her just yet. Su Ping's original plan with Tang Ruyan was to take her back to learn about the Tang family from her. At the moment, it just so happened that she could offer some help. As for the fact that people might find out that he was keeping her prisoner, it was no longer a source of worry for Su Ping. After all, apart from the protection provided by the Dragon King's soul, the little skeleton's combat strength had gone over 10. The average titled battle pet warriors could no longer threaten his life. Only legendary battle pet warriors could harm him. Also, as long as he was within the scope of his store, not even legendary battle pet warriors could show up and hurt him. The entire continent merely had 2 legendary battle pet warriors. Su Ping was confident that the Tang family had nothing to do with either of the 2 legendary battle pet warriors. Even if they did, he wouldn't be afraid. What? You want me to work for you in your store? Inside the scroll, Tang Ruyan was shocked by Su Ping's words, even before she had a second to be glad over the fact that the scroll had been opened for the first time in forever. This man was telling me to work for him as an attendant? She would have to work for free and without a contract? Fine. She didn't mind about the contract, per se. That being said, she was the future family head of the Tang family. How dare Su Ping make her an attendant? To receive customers? Who deserved to be served by her? Why was Su Ping not afraid that people would see her? What if the Tang family found out? Wasn't Su Ping afraid of the consequences? Su Ping replied, "You heard me. I run a store, and I need more people working for me. You can help me out for the time being." You? Tang Ruyan was enraged. His words were full of contempt. Still, she held back the urge to throw a tantrum. Working at the store implied that she could finally leave the scroll. That was a chance for her to escape. She wondered if Su Ping had lost his mind. He had captured her, imprisoning her there, and just then he was daring to let her out. He was seeking his doom. No problem. Tang Ruyan agreed readily. What kind of store? Who do I have to serve? Just average customers. I run a pet store. Average customers. Su Ping said nothing more. He unfolded the scroll to let Tang Ruyan out. Tang Ruyan felt the environment change, and the next thing she knew, she felt weightless. She was inside a spacious room by the time she felt her feet on the ground again. A moment later, she realized that another girl was standing next to her. She was attractive. Joanna's beauty had conquered yet another girl. Tang Ruyan was losing herself in Joanna's good looks. Why was she so charming? Tang Ruyan thought she was pretty. However, compared to this girl with the golden hair, Tang Ruyan suddenly began to be ashamed of herself. This is my store. I will get you an outfit later. Your job is to keep track of the store orders and welcome our guests. If the customers ask for pet food, you will help in fetching and offering it to them. You will also take customers' pets to the pet room. Su Ping gave a brief account of her job scope. Tang Ruyan was confused. What was that? She had never imagined that a guy as horrific as Su Ping could be running a store, a shabby one at that. He didn't have any employees. How poor would he have to be to ask her to fill in as an employee? Who is this? Tang Ruyan looked at the golden hair girl in confusion. Same as you. But she is a formal employee. You are not, Su Ping answered casually. Tang Ruyan had already concocted some theory about this golden hair girl. Still, she didn't know how to respond to Su Ping's reply. Was there even any difference between a formal employee and a temporary employee there? It wasn't like she cared about being a formal employee. Tang Ruyan looked at the golden hair girl, feeling sorry for her. She thought that Su Ping had abducted her because of her pretty looks. As such, Tang Ruyan felt she could sympathize with the girl. Joanna darted a glance at Tang Ruyan, having already lost interest in her since she was nothing more than a human being. Joanna was a bit happy that Su Ping mentioned that she was a formal employee. She would have been angry if this weak human being were a formal employee just like her. She was a goddess. She could accept the fact that she was an employee there, but she could never have a human being as a co-worker. "Aren't you afraid that I'm going to run away?" Tang Ruyan asked Su Ping. She had been baffled by this. Su Ping answered coldly, "You cannot. Joanna, keep an eye on her. If she runs, break her legs." Joanna frowned and said to Tang Ruyan, "You heard him. Behave and save me the trouble of doing something that boring." Tang Ruyan was stunned still. Su Ping's level of confidence was unexpected. The more unbelievable fact was that, judging by Su Ping's words, this golden-hair girl was more powerful than she was. Tang Ruyan's friendly feeling toward this golden-haired girl disappeared straight away. "Don't make it sound like you can do that. I won't leave. But if I wanted to, there is nothing you can do to stop me." Tang Ruyan sneered. Joanna frowned. "Are you courting death?" Because of Su Ping's requests, Joanna would usually refrain from revealing her full strength, at least on the surface. Tang Ruyan could not tell Joanna's strength and power level. Tang Ruyan raised her eyebrows. "Do you want a match to find out?" True, it was usual for men not to yield to another man. But the competition between the fairer sex could be even more intense. Su Ping cast a glance at Tang Ruyan speechlessly. How hot-headed this girl was. "Don't upset Joanna. Not even your dad can defeat her. She can crush titled battle pet warriors with one finger. I suggest you stop messing with her," Su Ping cautioned Tang Ruyan. Tang Ruyan could not believe this. Joanna could crush titled battle pet warriors to death with one finger? Could anyone do this? Affirmative. However, people that were capable of that level of strength would be those like Venerable the Blade, who were one step away from becoming legendary battle pet warriors, or actual legendary battle pet warriors. Was this golden-hair girl someone like that? Tang Ruyan found it hard to believe. After all, this girl seemed to be her age. The girl couldn't possess such powers, even if she had started cultivating since she was a fetus. "Give me your phone. Stay in the store and do your job. If you perform well, I will think about letting you go," Su Ping said. Tang Ruyan raised her eyebrows. She knew that Su Ping was worried about her contacting her family. Him. Tang Ruyan sneered. Reluctantly, she took her phone and gave it to Su Ping. "Don't think I can't contact my family without this. So stupid." Tang Ruyan grinned. She was sure that the end of Su Ping was coming. Besides, she believed that someone was bound to recognize her, given her fame, and that she would be in charge of receiving customers. By then, news that she was there would spread out and reach the Tang family. Afterward, Su Ping would have to face the fury from the Tang family, and they would level this store to the ground. The more she thought of that possibility, the happier she was. A smile had climbed to her face without her knowing. "Joanna, teach her how the work is done here. If we have too many customers, you can go to the pet room and set up the pets in the nursing pens," Su Ping said. Joanna was an official employee of the store. With Su Ping's permission, Joanna had the authority to use some of the store functions, such as the nursing pens and the pet storing space. Joanna nodded. Tang Ruyan kept a straight face. Inside, she promised herself that she would viciously retaliate against Su Ping the day she was freed. Thanks to the extensive promotion, the Pixie Pet store went viral within a day. That night, Su Ping saw a huge crowd gathering outside his store. He was happy that he had released Tang Ruyan that day. Otherwise, Joanna would have been overwhelmed if she was by herself. Tang Ruyan waited at the door. She was sporting the business wear that Su Ping had ordered for her. The clothes accentuated her slender body and highlighted her stunning presence. Tang Ruyan was full of hope as she looked at the people walking around the store. She could already smell the beautiful scent of freedom. Chapter 249, Doubts. "Is this the Pixie Pet store?" "Yes, it is. Look at the sign. Dear God. Look at the two statues. I almost thought they were two real dragons." "Me, 2. Damn. Take a look at that golden-haired girl. She is incredible. A crowd of young people arrived. The 2 dragon statues had caught their attention just as they reached the door. After they stepped into the store, their attention soon shifted to Joanna. She was exquisite. She had a curvy build and breathtakingly beautiful facial features. This had to be what fairies looked like. They had never seen someone so beautiful, not even on TV. For a moment there, no one was able to move a muscle. As for Tang Ruyan, no one darted a second look at her, as if she were transparent to them. Tang Ruyan was pretty and graceful, but going by human standards. Contrary to her, Joanna was like an artifact created by God. She was flawless. Perfection was the only word that could be used on her. Some of the boys were forgetting themselves. They lost themselves in Joanna's eyes that seemed too distant and yet filled with stories. The so-called love at first sight was when people were charmed by the unique look that appealed to them. After all, no one could fall in love at first sight of the ugly. The female customers found it hard to be envious of Joanna's prettiness. Instead, they felt ashamed of themselves. Tang Ruyan was surprised and angry that all the customers' attention had been focused on Joanna. Of course, Tang Ruyan was well aware that she was a little bit at a disadvantage when it came to competing in looks with Joanna. Indeed. Just a little bit. At least that was how Tang Ruyan saw it. Besides, she wasn't embarrassed for not looking as good as Joanna. It wasn't like she was a trophy girl. Tang Ruyan took a deep breath. She kept a straight face. She stepped forward and said to a young man, "Hi." She thought she was doing the young man an honor by taking the initiative to greet him. The young man stood on his tiptoes. Tang Ruyan frowned. "You. Stop talking. You're in my way." Before Tang Ruyan could finish her words, the young man had interrupted her, annoyed. To this young man's dismay, he realized that this girl was quite tall. Even as he stood on tiptoes, he was still unable to see that golden-haired girl that he was suddenly obsessed with. Being interrupted from his appreciation of the golden-haired girl was a waste of time, even for a single second. Tang Ruyan could not believe this. How dare this man shout at her? Was he courting death? She was fuming with rage. She was about to do something when she noticed that the young man had lost his patience and ran past her. All the other males were running past her as well. They gathered around Joanna and chatted with her, trying to get her contact info. Tang Ruyan turned over. There was a huge crowd around Joanna while there was no one near her. Instantly, Tang Ruyan turned pale from extreme anger. "Hi, I heard that you could guarantee a place in the Elite League's top 100. Is that true?" A short-haired girl in a leather jacket asked Tang Ruyan. Tang Ruyan turned around. She was glad that, finally, someone had noticed her. She looked into the girl's eyes so that she could take a good look at her face, while she said with her eyes, "That is right. This is me. I am Tang Ruyan." The eye contact continued. 1 second, 2 seconds. The short-haired girl suddenly raised her eyebrows and put on a flirty grin. She put one arm around Tang Ruyan's shoulder and said, "Are you free tonight? Do you want to grab a drink at Rose's? My treat." A bulky young man approached the counter with a frown and asked Su Ping, who was sitting here, "Who is the boss here?" "I am." Su Ping looked at the young man who appeared to be a 6th-rank battle pet warrior, the same as him. "How can I help you? We offer pet training services and more." "You are the boss?" The young man was surprised. He went there after he saw the ad. He had thought that a store that could hire a celebrity like Mu Shuangwan had to be resourceful and wealthy. It came as a shock to him that the boss was such a boy. The bulky young man frowned. He didn't think that the boy was joking about this matter. Such a joke could get him fired if the real boss knew, provided that there was a real boss. "I saw the ad that if I train my pet here, you can guarantee that I can get into top 100 of the Elite League. Is that true?" the young man questioned. He didn't linger on the issue whether Su Ping was the actual boss or not. Since he was there, he was willing to try out the training. Su Ping nodded. "That is right. If you choose the professional training services here, I promise that you can get into top 100 of the elite league. The young man stared at Su Ping. What if I can't make it to the top 100? That is impossible, Su Ping answered. That was bold. Su Ping was unexpectedly confident. At first, the young man only regarded Su Ping as an average teenager. However, those words reflected that Su Ping was not average, and there was something unique about him. Don't brag. There is always an exception. You sound confident, but do you know what it will take to make it to top 100? Do you know what kind of strength is needed? The young man sounded serious. Naturally, Su Ping had done his research. According to the results of the past 3 elite leagues, in the Longjiang base city, those between the top 80 to the 100s are basically those at the intermediate position of the 7th rank. That is a conclusion I reached after I saw the data. To be safe, with a strength at the upper position of the 7th rank, you are pretty much guaranteed to land a spot among the top 100. The young man was surprised to see that Su Ping had done his homework. Still, he wasn't happy about Su Ping's tone. You make it sound so easy. Do you think the intermediate position of the 7th rank is easy to reach? What kind of pet do I have to provide for training? Any pet, provided that it's not at the 1st rank. Su Ping smiled. I may have to work against the clock if the pet is at the 1st rank. The young man stared at Su Ping. 1st rank? Just working against the clock if the pet was at the 1st rank? Su Ping made it sound like he could train a 1st-rank pet to be strong enough to participate in the elite league. How full of himself Su Ping was. The young man was not happy with this answer. He felt Su Ping was insulting him. The elite league is about to begin. How many pets can you train within such a short time? If I leave 2 pets with you, one at the 3rd rank and the other at the 5th, can you train them so that I can make it to the top 100 in the elite league? The young man was not asking a question. He was accusing Su Ping. Yes, Su Ping answered right away. The young man was stunned. He had never seen anyone so confident in the world. The professional training is 1 million per session. As for the time, since you are the first one, you can pick up your pets tomorrow. If you're not happy with the results, you can ask for a refund at any time. My store is here, and I have spent too much money on the promotion. It should be clear enough for you to understand that I wouldn't run away after I accepted your money. Right? Su Ping blurted out his answer quickly and kept his sharp gaze on the young man. Su Ping realized that celebrity promotion alone would not work. His store's reputation had not been established yet. Only after customers tried his service could they know that he was telling the truth. Su Ping's gaze startled the young man. Su Ping had demonstrated a level of confidence that the young man found hard to accept. Su Ping was not faking it. He indeed trusted his work. A moment of silence later, the young man took a deep breath. He gazed at Su Ping and asserted coldly, 1 million per session. The price is not cheaper than the service offered in Primo. Did you just say that the training will be done tomorrow? I'm interested to see the effects. If the training fails, I will smash your store and you can close it for good tomorrow. Su Ping raised his eyebrows. I can understand that you have doubts about my services. Listen, what if you find my training satisfactory? Su Ping managed to remain composed. The young man sneered. If you can make me happy, I will apologize to you in public. Hell, I will even tell all my friends to come here. They are all battle pet warriors. I will even invite my teacher to come. He is a titled battle pet warrior. Deal? Su Ping nodded. Chapter 250, Whopping Price. You mentioned that it'll be fine as long as the pet is not at the 1st rank. Here is one at the 3rd rank. Have at it. The young man opened up his contract space and from it hopped out a flametail hound, which was a commonly seen 3rd-rank pet with a 4th-rank bloodline, a weaker species among all the middle-rank pets. The advantage of flametail hounds was that they were aggressive, and compared to other pets of the same rank, they were more skilled in combat. They were loyal, easy to be tamed, and could easily build a relationship with their masters. Pet loyalty was important. At critical moments, the most loyal pets would sacrifice their lives for their masters. On the other hand, the less loyal and more violent pets could abandon their masters in risky situations. Su Ping darted a look at the flame-tail hound and said, "No problem. 1 million for professional training. Pay the bill." The young man sneered as he transferred 1 million to Su Ping. Su Ping heard the ringtone, knowing that he had pocketed 10,000 energy points. He didn't bother to argue with that young man anymore. Since he had yet to build up his brand, he was prepared for doubts and questions. "Tang Ruyan, come here and take the pet inside," Su Ping shouted to Tang Ruyan. "What kind of isolated place is this? How come no one can recognize me?" In the distance, Tang Ruyan was glaring at the people in the store. None of the ones who had stepped inside had recognized her. Most people ignored her completely because their sole attention was on Joanna. Tang Ruyan felt she had lost completely to Joanna in the battle of appearances. In the old days, Tang Ruyan was the one who overwhelmed other girls with her looks and her temperament. Things had turned around for her this time. She was furious. She was sulking. When Su Ping shouted to her, Tang Ruyan stomped her feet and went over. "Joanna, go to the pet room." Su Ping told Joanna to be in charge of the pet room while Tang Ruyan took over her job outside in the store. Tang Ruyan was not connected with the store, so she could not go into the pet room, nor use the functions in the pet room. Besides, Su Ping had never intended to recruit Tang Ruyan as a formal employee. The reason was simple. She wasn't capable enough. Joanna represented the standard for future employees. If Su Ping were to hire someone else, that person couldn't be too weak in front of Joanna. Therefore, Tang Ruyan could only take on some temporary and basic responsibilities. Sure. Joanna left for the pet room, glad that she could finally get rid of the guys that were rambling around her to chat her up. If it weren't for the employee rules, she would have smashed all those annoying, petty human beings into dust. Tang Ruyan rolled her eyes. She could not believe that she had to walk around with this third-rank flame-tail hound. In the old days, she wouldn't bother to look at such a low-rank pet twice. At the moment, she had to take care of one. Alas, due to Su Ping's despotic power, she had no other choice but to take the flame-tail hound to the pet room. Though the young man had communicated with the flame-tail hound, it was still unwilling to part when the time came. It grabbed the floor with its paws and would not move an inch no matter what. Tang Ruyan was still vexed from before, and her mood worsened with this dog bugging her. Instantly, she unleashed her astral powers, and the strength that belonged to 7th-rank battle pet warriors swarmed out from her. Her eyes glistened brightly, showing intense killing intent. Woof! The flame-tail hound quivered in dread and whined. The young man was about to comfort his pet again when Tang Ruyan exhibited her power, taking him by surprise. Only then did the young man begin to notice this girl dressed up like a waitress. For a moment, he couldn't look away from her. He didn't know that even waitresses could be so mighty and beautiful. Besides, Tang Ruyan appeared to be about 18 or 19 years old. She couldn't be older than he was. She is so powerful. Is she an advanced battle pet warrior? The young man was dumbfounded. Even a waitress at the store turned out to be horrifying. Given the age of this waitress, she was more than talented if she had been able to reach her rank. In his view, those talents should be in a circle of admirers surrounding them. They would never go to a store like that one, let alone working as a waitress there. Illusions. He had to be hallucinating. The young man shook his head and frowned. Having received the money, Su Ping was no longer in the mood to argue with that young man. "Do you want anything else? If not, come and pick up your pet tomorrow. In other words, you may leave now." The young man raised his eyebrows. "Fine. I shall be waiting," he said as if he were issuing a challenge and left. Soon, the rest of the people swarmed over and orbited around Su Ping as they began to gabble about the store. Someone was even asking about some gossip related to Mu Shuangwan. "What chaos! Get in line," Su Ping hollered. Tang Ruyan had returned from her duty of handing the flame-tail hound to Joanna. Looking at the messy crowd, Su Ping said to Tang Ruyan, "Go and tell them to line up. Keep the order here." 3. Tang Ruyan was foaming at the mouth. She was the future family head of the Tang family, and Su Ping was treating her like a waitress for real. She took a deep breath. She had to endure this humiliation to carry out an important task. Come on. She had survived the children's army of the Tang family. She had suffered countless difficulties. Being a waitress was nothing. Come on. Also, Su Ping had assigned Joanna to the pet room. She was in charge of the front of the shop. That was more than helpful to her. She kept a straight face just like the one she usually wore when she left her family estate. And stepped forward. Listen up. Stand in line and behave. She deliberately showed her strength while she spoke. Inside the mysterious realm, being a 7th-rank battle pet warrior was nothing to brag about. But that wasn't the mysterious realm, it was the Longjiang base city. She could tell that the customers were basically 4th or 5th-rank battle pet warriors. Some were 2nd or 3rd ranks and had only gone there for fun. She could crush any one of them. Just as she expected, many people were stunned and began to notice her after she displayed her energy. One look and many people were amazed. Aside from that glamorous golden hair girl, this store housed another pretty girl. Though this waitress was less attractive than the golden hair girl, she was a piece of eye candy nonetheless. Look at her. Looks like she's quite powerful. Is she a 6th-rank battle pet warrior? She has to be more than that. How is that possible? This girl must be less than 20 years old. The 6th rank is already a horrific achievement for a girl her age. The customers crowded around the counter were stunned by Tang Ruyan. Following Tang Ruyan's instructions, those people stood in line. Later on, the newcomers would queue up consciously after seeing the line. When the rules were in place, people would naturally comply. 100,000. A short and chubby man stood in front of the counter and stared at Su Ping. He was so mad that he almost jumped up and bumped his head against the counter. Su Ping kept a straight face. 100,000 for regular training and 1 million for professional training. 1 million. The short and chubby man screamed even louder as if someone were robbing his wallet. Are you serving us or robbing us? You charge even more than the large stores. Are you serious? Are you saying you have top-level master trainers here? In shock and wrath, the short man continued. You will find our services are worth it. If you think the price is too high, you are welcome to go to other stores. Thank you. Su Ping stayed calm. The short man glared at Su Ping and turned around to other customers. Guys, take a look. This is an unethical store. He asks for 100,000 just for the training of one pet. He even mentioned something called professional training, and that is 1 million. He is f***ing tricking us. He is robbing us of our money. 100,000. No way? That expensive? SHT, who gave him the courage to set prices like that? Is he trying to even out what he spent on hiring Mu Shuangwan for his ad? Shaken by the price, the people in line began to raise a clamor. If that store were one of those famous and large-scale ones in the upper town area, a price like this would be reasonable. After all, those stores had master trainers who enjoy a high social status. Not only was the price high there, but people would also have to make reservations. But look at this place. It was in the shanty town. This wasn't even the Xinyu district, which was a presentable part of the shanty town. This was in an out-of-the-way that could not be any more worn out. Why would a store running at such a cheap place ask for that whopping price? Some of them were no longer in the mood to stay in line. They stepped to the side and shouted to Su Ping, "Are you the boss? What is this price? Explain." Right. Who gave you the right to set a price like this? Do you honestly think you can make money no matter what, just because you invited a celebrity to represent your store? Do you think we are fools? You must explain yourself. You're running an unethical store, and you are trying to tarnish Mu Shuangwan's good reputation. We, as her fans, will be the first you have to deal with. Right. Many people were shouting and bellowing. Others remained quiet, but they did stand on their tiptoes as they enjoyed this drama. A fraction of the customers showed up because they were Mu Shuangwan's fans, and they were the most furious about the price. The owner of the store was making dirty money by taking advantage of Mu Shuangwan's reputation. This could reflect poorly on their idol.